Hello, it is August the 11th and in Tombstone today it is the Duck holiday weekend, and we hope to have, we were going to have Val Kilmer, but Dennis Quaid is here. I've seen him already, and maybe we'll have one or two other little surprises as well, who knows, including Kevin Costner. Personally, I'm dressed as the Fat Town Councillor today, which is an outfit I absolutely hate, but I thought it would fit in a bit better. And this afternoon I might just revert to my normal scruffy, dirty, disgusting cowboy image, which I feel a lot more comfortable in because basically I am dirty, scruffy and disgusting. So anyway, all you guys out there in iPhone land, have a nice day, and when you see this, all my best. Cheers. You may remember last year's video of the inaugural Duck holiday weekend, which was a huge success. Val Kilmer came to town, and must have been thousands of people came into town to watch. Something tells me this isn't going to be so successful this year. You can see by this picture that here we are with the people queuing up, waiting to see the start of the parade, and there isn't nearly the number of people in town as there was last year, but anyway, we'll see how it goes. Here is just a few shots of people assembling before the start of the parade. Dennis Quaid's coach looks as though he's having a sly nip there. A couple of the mounted marshals, I believe, and here we have some of the pirates that were appearing in Bisbee that weekend, and a few more just here. So we find our place in the parade somewhere between the pirates and the Darth Vader lookalikes. Here is our gunfight group assembling. We have an Ike Clanton and a few other people, Chinese people from Chinatown. Where else would they come from? Now here's a shot I waited maybe half an hour to get. This is Dennis Quaid climbing into his coach, ready to start the parade. And he obviously played Doc Holliday in the Wyatt Earp movie. And I've got a soft spot for Dennis Quaid playing that role. Everyone bangs on about Val Kilmer and whatever, but if you look at Dennis in this movie, I'm sure this is nearer to what Doc really looked like. He lost 40–50 pounds to play this role, and whereas Val Kilmer looks in the peak of health, Doc here, the Dennis Doc, doesn't. He looks like a sick man. Really great performance. And in this shot, this is how I imagine the real Doc Holliday looked. Anyway, let's get back to the parade. Here are our Chinese friends heading off down to Chinatown. Chinatown was at the other end of town, as I may have told you in some of my earlier videos. Well, I'm not quite sure what cars, either old or new, have got to do with the Tombstone Dock Holiday Parade, but anyway, the organisers seem to think it's relevant. I'd just like to know if there's a shortage of horses and buggies in Tombstone. I wouldn't have thought so, but obviously the organisers do, so they'd rather have people flashing off their cars. At last, here come the Pirates of the Caribbean, and we, the gunfighters, have to slot in behind them. At this point, I must be honest, I pretty well gave up on the parade or the videoing of it, because firstly, we had to join in, and secondly, behind us there wasn't much that was interesting anyway, so I went to the other end of town, dropped off my guns, and went over to the Tombstone Brewery and spent the rest of the afternoon in there talking to people. Had a really nice time. This is the second day, Sunday. There won't be nearly as many people in town today, but it should still be good. Throw a I've thrown another costume on. I had my Fat Town Councillor's outfit on yesterday, but I'm dressed more to my liking today. I'm dressed as a cowboy. Sort of like this. I like posing in front of this piano because it makes me look thinner. So I'd like to finish with some photographs. I must admit that a lot of these were taken from the 2017 Doc Holiday, the inaugural event, because basically it was just a much better weekend. Many more people, better costumes, more life, much better. So enjoy. Dennis Quaid or Val Kilmer? Well, who was the best Doc Holiday then? They were so completely different, weren't they? I've always had this idea that Val Kilmer, even though he lost a lot of weight for the part, he always looked a little bit too healthy, whereas Dennis Quaid, some might say, looked a little bit too sick. The truth probably lies somewhere between the two extremes. At this stage, Doc still had another 6 years left to live, so he couldn't have been that terminally ill at this particular point in time. Overall, I'm going to go with Dennis Quaid, you know, because Val Kilmer, he looked great and it was a wonderful performance. But I think he was playing Doc Holliday the legend, whereas Dennis Quaid, he was playing Doc Holliday the man. And even though it was maybe a mite too early, you could see that he was terminally ill, and you could see the fever burning in his eyes.